Hey everyone, buckle up because we're diving into a topic that's causing quite a stir online, the Doge dividend.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten some attention.
It has. Just imagine getting rewarded for pointing out government waste.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Right. And we're not talking about chump change here. We're talking potentially $5,000 per household.
Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty,
Yeah.
if you're liking what you're hearing so far,
Yes.
make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future updates.
Okay, so let's break this Doge dividend down. It was initially proposed by James Fishback, the CEO of Aurea. And get this, it's gotten some pretty big names on board like Elon Musk and former President Trump. The idea is pretty straightforward. Encourage people to report instances of government waste and fraud. If this initiative hits its ambitious goal of saving $2 trillion, 20% of that gets distributed to eligible households.
That's right, and that's how they came up with that $5,000 figure. They're estimating the payout by dividing the $400 billion,
Wow.
which is 20% of the projected savings.
Right.
By the estimated 79 million U.S. households considered net payers of federal income tax in 2025.
Okay, net payers, that's a key term here. Basically, it means you paid more in federal income tax than you received in refundable credits. So this raises a question, especially for those on Social Security. Do Social Security recipients typically file federal income taxes? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Let us know in the comments, have you filed taxes while receiving Social Security?
Yeah, chime in.
Yeah. And hey, if you're finding this discussion helpful, don't forget to give it a like.
All right, so back to the Doge dividend. While being a net payer in 2025 seems like the main requirement, there might be other eligibility factors too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the information we've gathered suggests there could be minimum and maximum income thresholds. So Social Security recipients with really low incomes might not qualify. And on the flip side, those whose total income, including Social Security, goes above a certain limit might also be excluded.
So it's not as simple as it seems at first glance.
Right, there are lots of pieces to this eligibility puzzle.
Definitely.
And our sources also mention other potential disqualifiers like owing back taxes or child support payments.
It's getting complicated.
It is, but here's where it gets really interesting. Despite these potential restrictions, one source says that the majority of all Social Security recipients would receive the Doge dividend.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That seems to contradict the whole net payer thing we were talking.
Exactly. And this just shows that it's still just a proposal. Things could change, and we need more clarification.
So it's not a done deal, folks. This Doge dividend is just one part of a bigger picture.
And that bigger picture has some major implications for government spending and the national deficit. Which brings us to a really important debate.
Oh yeah, a debate that goes beyond individual payouts and gets into some broader economic principles. We'll explore this more in the next part of our discussion. Stay tuned.
So this Doge dividend proposal basically kicks off a debate about whether the government should focus on reducing the deficit or giving direct aid to households.
Kind of like deciding between tightening your belt and investing in your future.
Exactly.
Both have their pros and cons.
For sure. Reducing the deficit could mean long-term economic stability.
Right.
While direct aid could offer immediate relief.
Yeah.
And stimulate the economy.
It's a tough choice.
It is a classic dilemma in economic policy.
And then there's the psychological impact, too. Imagine millions of Americans getting a surprise $5,000 check.
Wow.
What do you think that would do for morale, especially with all the economic uncertainty these days?
I mean, it's definitely an interesting thought. That kind of direct cash infusion could boost consumer confidence.
Right.
And maybe even lead to more spending.
Yeah, give the economy a boost.
Yeah, exactly.
A real-world example of the multiplier effect in action. But critics of the Doge dividend say it's just a temporary fix.
Yeah.
A Band-Aid solution that doesn't really address the root causes of government waste and inefficiency.
And they have a point. Some argue that instead of handing out money, the focus should be on fixing the system to prevent waste in the first place.
So more long-term solutions over short-term relief.
Right.
And of course, there's always the concern about inflation.
Yeah.
What happens if a ton of money suddenly gets pumped into the economy? Could it lead to higher prices? And in the end, wouldn't that make that $5,000 check worth less?
That's a big question. The potential for inflation with a payout this big would need to be carefully considered and managed.
It's a tricky balance.
It is. It has all sorts of complicated economic consequences.
It seems like every potential upside of this Doge dividend comes with a counter-argument.
Yeah, it's complex.
Really complex. But one thing I find really interesting is how it could increase citizen involvement in holding the government accountable.
Oh, that's a great point.
I mean, the whole idea of the Doge dividend, encouraging people to report waste, could make the government more transparent and accountable.
Absolutely.
Imagine people actively looking at government spending, holding officials responsible for what they do.
It would be like crowdsourcing government oversight.
Exactly. Instead of just complaining about waste, people could actually do something about it, help make the system more efficient.
And that change in mindset, that sense of ownership and responsibility, could have effects way beyond just financial savings. It could create more engaged and informed citizens,
Right.
leading to greater trust and participation in democracy.
That's powerful stuff. It's fascinating to think how the Doge dividend, even if it never actually happens, has gotten people talking about the potential for citizen-driven accountability. Opens up a whole world of possibilities.
For sure. Makes you wonder what other parts of public life could benefit from this kind of citizen oversight. Education, healthcare, infrastructure projects, the possibilities are endless.
And that's what I love about these conversations. They push us to think outside the box and come up with new ways to tackle these challenges. It's all about exploring different viewpoints and getting a deeper understanding of these complicated issues.
I agree, and we really appreciate you joining us on this journey. Now, before we get to the final part of our discussion, we want to know what you think. Do you think this Doge dividend, with all its potential benefits and drawbacks, is a step in the right direction? Let us know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this conversation, don't forget to give it a like. Your engagement helps us shape future discussion and make sure we're providing content that you find valuable.
Okay, so we've really dug into this Doge dividend proposal, looked at its potential pros and cons, and even considered its wider impact on government accountability. Now let's shift gears and think about you.
Yeah, what if this actually happened? How would it affect your personal finances? Would an extra $5,000 make a big difference for you?
Imagine getting that check in the mail. What would you do with it? Pay off debt, invest it, or maybe finally splurge on something you've been wanting. So many possibilities.
And all those individual choices made by millions of households, they could have a huge impact on the economy as a whole. Think about what it could mean for businesses, for jobs, for economic growth overall.
It's like this intricate web, all connected. And it all starts with this one policy proposal, the Doge dividend. Whether it ultimately passes or not, it's definitely sparked a conversation about government spending, citizen involvement, and the role of direct aid in our economy.
It's a conversation that goes beyond political lines. It gets at the heart of some really important economic principles, makes us think about the role of government and how it interacts with its citizens.
And that's the great thing about exploring these complex topics. We break them down, consider different perspectives, and come away with a better understanding of how things work.
Exactly.
We hope this discussion has given you some valuable insights and maybe even made you think differently about government policy and economics.
We really hope you've enjoyed this exploration of the Doge dividend and all its potential consequences.
Yeah, we encourage you to subscribe to stay updated on more thought-provoking discussions on all sorts of topics. And if you found this information useful, don't forget to give us a like. Your engagement helps us grow and continue delivering content that matters to you. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world around you.